Hey folks, it's Chuck Weisselberg with One Guy Consulting, and it's been a while since I posted a half-baked product demo, so it dawned on me just the other day that I should probably get a full one in there in case anybody was interested. So diving on in, you'll notice the first thing you want to do is assign your compliance officer. You do that under settings. I kind of lock you in place here just due to the importance of naming that person. So won't be able to do much until you fill out this portion. I don't know how many numbers I just put in there. My mistake. So you hit save, you move on down, sign this or fill it out with the type option that was there just a moment ago. This will allow you to e-sign, just as you see here, any agreements that you send out to vendors or any other documentation which requires signature. This is how you will append it. No need for ink and paper. Name your organization here and then hit save so that it takes, so that the system remembers it. You can upload a logo just for a little bit more uniqueness in your policy documents. Aside from that, stay on top of how your team is doing on either a weekly or monthly basis. You can turn on this option for the compliance digest, just an email newsletter about progress within the organization as far as the site is concerned. You can turn it off if you don't want it. Either way, just hit save as far as your preferences when you're done. And then pay no mind to what you see down here. This is all forthcoming good stuff. You're now done with this settings page, and you'll want to head back to the dashboard. From here, numerical order kind of reigns. You can just work it straight through up till you're done here. There's a little bit of give and take as far as these steps being set in stone, but I'm going to show you the proper way right now. Every good compliance plan starts with a security risk assessment because if you're not assessing the risk, then what exactly are you doing? This is a questionnaire that needs to be completed on an ongoing basis as per the federal government. It covers safeguards and how you are dealing with them, whether you have them in place, whether you're using them properly. The version that is in this tool, I want to say it's about in total 63 questions. When you finish the questionnaire, it will lock your answer. That's on purpose. So make sure to just do a double check if you feel that you need to before hitting this button when it's available after selecting all of your answers above when completing this assessment. When you are done, a little bit of automation is going to come into play. Since I didn't take the assessment there, I don't have the full-fledged ability to show you just how cool this is, but there's no longer a need to map the regulation to the policy, to the security risk assessment, and make a whole big, chart of everything. In the modern day, I think it's much better to be utilizing automation when able. And that's just exactly what we're doing here based on your answers from number two, the security risk assessment. The system will automatically develop your gap analysis. Here's your gaps. Well, this is just a book saver, a place saver, but assuming I had an active gap report, I could hit this. It will download the file to my computer from my records if that's what I want to do. The automation goes one step further as well. And I'm speaking of the remediation plans you see me hovering over. In one click, you can develop every last plan that is going to do away with the gaps determined from your taking the security risk assessment. So I'll show you. Hit generate plans here. Normally you see them load. It takes a little bit of moment because it's actually pulling information, but it worked really fast there because I didn't do the SRA. However, if I head over to remediation plans here, you'll see just all of them, right? They've been developed. Any possible one that's inside the system, it's listed here under that menu item of the same name. To review the contents of the plan, it's that edit button. You can change the priority. You can add some notes. If you're not ready to close the plan by the time you're staring at this particular window, you can just save the changes. It'll kind of keep it as a draft rather than a finalized version as close would do, but I'm going to hit cancel. If you read the title of one of these and you say, oh, yeah, no worries, I have that in place already, so I don't need to go digging around, you can complete it right here. Just bam, hit the check mark. You're done. That one's done. So, just to recap what we've covered so far, security risk assessment gets done right after you appoint the compliance officer, after you e-sign for the sake of templates receiving that e-signature in the future. You can go about deciding whether you want to sign up for that monthly or weekly digest on progress within your team or organization. And then there is also that field where you need to name your company. So, four things to take a look at under settings when you get started. It's well mapped out for you visually, though. From there, again, sorry to repeat myself, security risk assessment gets completed. From there, the gap analysis is automatically generated based on the answers from the security risk assessment, which then all that information is used by the system to go ahead and develop the remediation plans for you. No manual writing of the plans anymore. Those days are done. Now, from there, we have what most people are asking about, policies. And so you can check out what policies are pending adoption from here. This is what you have already published and set out live is the way to think about it. You've made this live and available for the rest of the staff to read and attest to already. That's why it's available under the published option. It's just a big list if I go in here, so it's not terribly exciting, but I'll click in. Here's a policy. Give a gander. You would hit edit if you wish to change around any of the language. Hit done to save your draft. When the day comes to publish it right here, this will again send it live to the staff so they can train. If for any reason you need to download the policy locally, you have that ability as well. Now, at some point, as you are approaching the completion of your policy review, it's probably a good time at that juncture to add in your staff for the purpose of completing their HIPAA 101 training, their cybersecurity awareness training, and this policy attestation. So that addition is done under this employees tab here. Hit invite, name and email. They'll get an invite to their respective email address, whatever you put here. Upon following the link in the email received by the employee, they'll set up their profile, and that's what allows them to take their training. You just need to assign the person to the profile so you know who's taken what, and you are good to get going as the trainee at that time. Now, the compliance officer does need to go ahead and complete training themselves. I know it sounds a little bit silly since they were the ones who developed everything. To make things a little bit easy, you can access the entire training hub right from here, and you can somewhat maneuver more quickly throughout the attestation from this menu. It's kind of the nice thing to do since you're already very familiar with this material by that point. There's no need to put you through your full paces as the person who did that. Moving further down this left-hand side menu, you're going to notice this vendor section. We have some more cool automation coming into play as far as vendors are concerned. So I come here, nothing can be done until we develop the actual profile for said vendor. And I'm actually doing it right on the screen right now. It's nothing terribly complicated. It is just listing the information for the business, saving it, and then you have somewhere to place all of the info that needs to be saved for that entity. You got your one source of truth. So nice and easy. I'm going to hit save vendor. If you had a previous agreement signed with them and you don't want to enact a new one, I would have gone ahead and clicked this button. That would have just brought me to a quicker area where I could have uploaded that executed agreement. But let me show you what I find to be the cooler way to do this, and that's executing a new agreement. If you click the vendor profile, bring it forth once more, you'll see it listed out more vertically like this. And the first option below the general demographic details, you have this send BAA button. So here's what you signed with. Here's the info you signed with, or I just did. You would hit sign and generate e-sign link, and then hit send email. Within moments, the receiving party will get the agreement that has your signature on it. They have the ability to sign electronically as well from their end. Upon doing so, the agreement will be saved and executed by both parties and ergo the companies, saved inside of the vendor's profile so that it's just there for safekeeping. You'll find that signed agreement in the future if you ever need to furnish it or give it a read. Like I said, if you have an existing business associate agreement, you can always upload that. The reason why I'm scrolling so far is actually to reach this vendor risk assessment. So it's always a good idea when entering into a new service contract with a third-party vendor who will work with protected health information that you're responsible for on a regular basis. You want to vet their security posture, make sure that their systems are up to the task of keeping the protected health info that you are responsible for nice and private and secure. And you can do so by utilizing just this portion of the portal. This will fire off a simple audit to this business associate when they have the opportunity to complete this assessment. They hit done. It's kind of like the signing of the business associate agreement, where it will be saved upon finalization inside of the vendor's profile within the tool here. I'm not going to get into annual now because there's time for renewal at a later date. But at this point, there's some simple audits that you just want to be sure to get out of the way. They cover just some stuff that happens to be placed here. You can get it done earlier than this in the process if you like. This is just kind of where I placed it for this platform, kind of works for me. So this is about your actual location. This is about your IT network, your network security, network architecture, that stuff. This is going to be a literal inventory of the devices that have the ability to touch protected health info at any time. Nice and simple, really is just a list that you're keeping in a digital format here. And then the last thing, you want to make sure to go ahead and test your incident management system so that when the situation arises that you need to use it, there's no doubt that it is functioning properly. The first place someone would go would obviously be this reporting pane. You'd fill out the details for the incident, what happened, important dates. Upon submitting the incident report, it is available for review by anyone who is a privacy officer status inside of this tool. You can bring up the case, you can get into the details of what was submitted by the employee or follow up investigation evidence. You can add your own. Really, whatever you would need in that regard is available inside of this incident management system. I would recommend right now to just avoid this AI prompts menu option. Not a full-fledged feature yet. I'm going to be happy to show you in the not so distant future just what that's all about. It's pretty cool. But for now, I think I've laid enough out to give you something to chew on. If you have any questions, please always feel free to get hold of me. The website is oneguyconsulting.com. My email, I'll give you the easy one. It's hello@oneguyconsulting.com. Drop on by. Happy to give you a hand. If you have any questions, just want to chat some HIPAA, I'm happy to do so. So, hope you have a nice rest of your day, and we'll see you soon.